Eisuke, what's happening near the Tokara Islands?
The islands have been hit by a series of earthquakes in a limited area since June 21st. There have been 1,180 earthquakes with an intensity of 1 or higher. The region, that's as of 11 a.m. today. The region has experienced extended seismic activity before, but this year is much more pronounced. Please see this graph. It compares this time to similar periods in the past. The vertical axis shows the cumulative number of quakes. The horizontal axis shows the number of days on which tremors of intensity 1 or higher occurred. In the past, there was a gradual decrease in the number of earthquakes after about 5 days of seismic activity. But this time, the graph goes steeply upwards, meaning that the number has been increasing.
Very concerning for the residents there. But why is this kind of earthquake occurring and what's going to happen next? A magnitude 5.5 earthquake has struck Japan's southwestern prefecture of Kagoshima. The tremor reached a lower 6 on Japan's seismic intensity scale, which goes from 0 to 7. It is the largest of hundreds that have rocked the region for almost 2 weeks now. The quake struck at about 4:13 p.m. on Thursday. According to the meteorological agency officials, the epicenter was off the coast of the Tokara Islands. The depth was about 20 kilometers, but there was no threat of tsunami. There has been a marked increase in seismic activity around the island chain for nearly 2 weeks. More than 1,000 noticeable tremors have been recorded. The shock comes just a day after a magnitude 5.6 quake struck the same area. Officials say residents should stay on the alert and that the shaking could continue.
Take a look at this. Over the past week in southwestern Japan, they have had hundreds of earthquakes. What we call an earthquake swarm. And basically, they're all very shallow over just one specific area, just off the coastline of Toshima, where the Japan actually launches their rockets for their space program. Is right here. The max intensity has been about a 5.0 to a 5.5 on the Richter scale. But the point is, it has absolutely been shaking this area to the point where residents are having voluntary evacuations just because of the ongoing shaking. Not so much of damage, since a lot of these buildings here are built for this. But my worry is this could be a precursor to a bigger one, what we call pre-quakes. Now, I also point this out here at First Coast News in the Jacksonville area where I'm recording this from, because there are 80,000 military members located on this island. That is Okinawa Honto. It's the biggest island and part of this chain where a lot of bases are located. Now, they haven't really been feeling these quakes. It's a little bit further towards the south of that, but it's close enough where if one does get bigger above a 6.0, it could be felt out in this area. So if you have military friends, Navy members located out in here, and they may be worried about it, just make sure they're taking those proper precautions, have a go bag, and they know what to do in the event of a large earthquake. But yeah, pretty incredible. I mean, I'm just seeing these reports out of here, upwards of 1,000 quakes over the course of the past week located here in southwestern Japan.
Earlier this year, the Japanese government warned of an even greater risk. A megaquake in the Nankai Trough in the southern seas of Japan. Experts say it could strike within 30 years. Such a quake could kill up to 298,000 people and cause damage worth $2 trillion. Japan, which has a strong system to tackle frequent earthquakes, feels underprepared to deal with a disaster of this scale. Japan remains one of the most seismically active countries on Earth. It accounts for about 18% of the world's earthquakes. The earthquakes in Akusaki are a stress test for the Japanese authorities. The ground continues to tremble there, and the locals remain watchful for what lies ahead.
An undersea plate on the east side is sinking towards the islands, while on the western side lies the Okinawa Trough, which is widening. But Japan Meteorological Agency says it is unclear why things are so active right now. We interviewed Professor Nishimura Takuya of Kyoto University, who is an expert on earthquake mechanisms.
This level of seismic activity with tremors shaking the area over such an extended period, indicates an unusual external force is being applied. The current activity is likely volcanic in nature and related to something like magma activity.
Professor Nishimura said the earthquakes won't stop until external factors diminish. So at this stage, the prospects for future quake activity are hard to say.
Now, one of the reasons why these earthquakes are attracting attention from overseas is because of the spread of a baseless rumor that a major earthquake and tsunami will hit Japan in July. And as you know, it's caused a decrease in travel demand to Japan from Hong Kong and led to reduced flights from there. And the fact that these Tokara earthquakes have been occurring just before that rumored date for the disaster is increasing attention. But, you know, is it really possible to predict an earthquake?
Yeah. The world's prediction and forecast are different, with the story around the world just a rumor. Japan Meteorological Agency officials spoke about earthquake prediction on Thursday.
There
are three conditions that would make it possible to predict earthquakes: the time, the place, and the scale. That's not possible with today's science and technology. So the story that's going around is a false rumor.
So why is this rumor spreading?
Yeah. Sekiya Naoya, a professor at the University of Tokyo's Graduate School, who is an expert in disaster communication, says that emotional factors such as anxiety and high interest have more of an impact on daily communications than scientific correctness. Not spreading a rumor is the most important thing. Japan is a country with earthquakes, and a large one could occur at some point. But just feeling anxious isn't good. People should get ready for an earthquakes or tsunamis by checking in advance for dangerous places where injuries could occur and finding out where to evacuate. With this kind of preparation, people can feel safe even if an earthquake takes place.
Akusaki is a tiny island off the southern coast of Japan. It sits quietly in the Tokara Island chain with just 89 people living there. But in the past 2 weeks, this quiet island has been anything but still. Akusaki has experienced more than 1,000 earthquakes in less than a month. Today, another strong quake hit, registering 5.5 on the Richter scale. The day before, a quake of the same magnitude was recorded. Local authorities are taking precautions. Earlier today, they urged all residents to evacuate to a school playground because it's a safe and open space away from buildings and the sea. The evacuation order was later lifted. This was after everyone was accounted for, and no major damage was reported. Officials said there was no risk of a tsunami this time, but they warn that the ground remains unstable. Residents have been cautioned about the possibility of collapsing houses and landslides. Akusaki is just one of 7 inhabited islands in the Tokara chain. About 700 people live on these islands. The region has experienced earthquake swarms before. In 2023, there were 346 quakes recorded, but this time the scale is much bigger.